Hey guys, got someone here? 1 second. Play album Hold Your Colour. Right, now that music's sorted. One thing I wanted to talk about today is I'm trying to think of the best way to title it. It's not really attitudes, it's right, I'll name it The Way You Ride. This is sort of my take or my thoughts on the way which your bike influences the way you ride. I mean, I started out riding a Honda CG 125, and obviously not the sportiest of bikes in the world. Brilliant bike though, don't get me wrong. I rode that thing quite quickly, shall we say, for that bike anyway. I mean, yes, it's not quick compared to what I can do on this thing, but you know, just sort of what makes me think about it is, also you are turning. Watched my, well, not my video, the video Frizz020 did about the crash I had on my Phaser. Sort of got me thinking about how different I am of a rider now, partially due to the crashes which I've had, which have made me more aware of the cars around me and given me much more reason to be more observant, but also just the capabilities of the bike. I mean, the Phaser was, to me, a very, very quick bike. Going from a 125 to a 600cc inline 4 was interesting, shall we say. But now that, obviously partly due to that crash and partly due to the fact that I'm now on a 800cc V4 bike, I have more power, more torque and more ability to do things stupidly, but I don't. Whether or not that is because of the crash or whether it's just because it's now more of a case of I know the bike can do it and therefore I don't feel the need to test it, or what, I don't know, but I've become a much tamer rider, and this is waiting forever. See, if I was on the Phaser, I would have probably just pulled up next to that guy and just pulled out as soon as I had a gap big enough. But his bike is also a lot bigger than the Phaser, or it feels it anyway. It's a lot heavier and all things like that. Whereas now, I find I'm much more aware of sort of my surroundings and what's going on. Like I know on which type. Thank you. That was a very nice guy. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Sorry. But yeah, this bike has tamed me. It is heavier, but it is also a lot sportier. It does have more power than the Phaser did, and a hell of a lot more torque, which you do notice after riding an inline 4. After riding this, if that makes sense, as in I rode somebody else's inline 4. It's a lot different. The power is immediate on this thing, whereas on the inline 4 it seems to take a little while. Not long, you know, but it's not instant. And I'm sure it's a culmination of all things. I mean, a lot of people say there are two types of motorcyclists on the road: those that have crashed and those that haven't. I am unfortunately in the group of those that have. So I do speak from experience when I talk about crashes. But you know, you become more aware. I think when you first start riding, you're a little sort of like, yeah, I'm on a motorcycle, I can go quick and I can filter through traffic and I can do all this and I can do all that. And until you sort of have a crash with a car, I mean, when you crash on your own, it's obviously still a crash, but it's not as it doesn't stick in your head as much because you weren't hit by something. So you just think, oh well, maybe there was something on the road that made me slip or something. And I know the last crash was my own fault. And you sort of you dismay it. But it took me a while to actually realize, not to actually realize, but to sort of pay attention to the fact that it was my fault and I was pushing the bike too hard. But with this bike and after the crashes, it's just, I know that if I need to get out of a situation with this bike, I can. I can drive like a bloody lunatic if I want to. But because I know what the consequences can be, I tend not to. Because believe me, spending a week in hospital because you can't walk properly is not very nice. So yeah, I mean, I wish by no means that for any motorcyclist to crash, but I do think it's an important step in the learning to ride a motorcycle sort of journey which everybody goes on. And I think it's definitely one of those points where it sort of decides what kind of a rider you're going to become. If you come out of the accident and you think, oh, what a prick, I'm going to be a bastard to all car drivers now because that one hit me. Well, personally, I think you're doing it the wrong way. But if, like me, you come out of them thinking, shit, I'm very hard to see on the road, make yourself visible. Yes, I wear a black helmet and a black jacket, but my jacket has lines of reflective tubing all over it. My black backpack, which I've got on, has insanely reflective tape on it. It's actually pretty funky. I got related to a guy from Tron by Save the Freak. He said I should put this stuff all over me because it looked cool. And my helmet's, that doesn't have anything reflective on it, but it does have white writing on the back of it. So yeah, I'm now back at work, as I'm sure you can tell. That's sort of my take on how people ride. I mean, obviously the bike decides that you're not going to be riding like a super sport guy if you're riding a Super Tenere or, you know, something like that. Just because the bike doesn't have the capability to do so, but even people that ride super sport bikes, I believe, for the most part, if those people have had crashes, you'll find that they're not quite as hung-go or go-hung, whatever it is, hung-go, hung-ho, whatever, you know what I mean, as riders that have crashed. And it's an interesting comparison, really, or I find it to be anyway. And the sound, but anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's my take on it. I actually did another vlog, or I didn't attempt at this on the way to the shop, but it didn't go too well. So this will be the one I upload.